In the small town of Oxford, Michigan, a normal school day turned into a nightmare that shook the entire nation. On November 30th, 2021, Ethan Crumbley, a 15-year-old sophomore, carried out a devastating school shooting that left 4 students dead and several others injured. Ethan Crumbley was an unremarkable teenager to most who knew him. He lived with his parents, James and Jennifer Crumbley, in a modest home. Classmates described him as quiet, often keeping to himself, but nothing about his demeanor suggested the horrors that would soon unfold. James and Jennifer Crumbley, his parents, were involved in his life, but their parenting style and decision-making would later come under intense scrutiny. The Crumbleys purchased the firearm Ethan would later use, a gift for his 15th birthday, with little thought to the consequences. November 30th, 2021, started like any other day at Oxford High School. Students attended classes, unaware that their lives were about to change forever. But in the early morning hours, Ethan Crumbley had different plans. He brought a handgun to school, hidden in his backpack, and by lunchtime, the first shots rang out. The first victims were taken by surprise, with no time to react. The school quickly descended into chaos as students and staff realized what was happening. As the chaos erupted inside Oxford High School, Ethan Crumbley attempted to further his attack by impersonating a police officer. Moving through the hallways, he approached a classroom where students and a teacher had barricaded themselves.
Yeah, we're here. Yes.
In a calm, authoritative voice, Ethan knocked on the door, claiming to be law enforcement, urging them to open up and assuring them that it was safe.
Yes. Sheriff's office. It's safe to come out.
Yeah, he said it's safe to come out.
Now, we're not willing to take that risk right now. We're not taking that risk right now. Okay, well, come to the door with my hand, bro.
Yeah, bro.
He said bro.
He said bro. Red flag.
Fortunately, the teacher inside recognized something was off, and the door remained shut. Within minutes, the shooting spree left 7 others injured and 4 students dead. He gunned down Madison Baldwin, 17, Tate Meyer, 16, Hannah Street Juliana, 14, and Justin Schilling, 17. As police arrived on the scene, Ethan was apprehended without resistance, still carrying the weapon. In the days leading up to the shooting, Ethan was seen practicing at a local shooting range with his parents. Witnesses reported that he seemed unusually focused, methodically handling the firearm with an unsettling intensity. This visit to the shooting range would later be seen as another missed warning sign, a chilling prelude to the tragedy that was about to unfold. As the community mourned, investigators began to piece together the events leading up to the shooting. Ethan's social media posts, journal entries, and drawings revealed a mind consumed by violence and despair. His notebook detailed plans for the attack, showing that this was not a spur-of-the-moment decision, but a calculated act. Investigators also turned their attention to Ethan's parents. Just a few days before the shooting, a teacher had raised concerns about Ethan's disturbing drawings, which depicted violent scenes and messages like, "The thoughts won't stop. Help me." Despite these alarming signs, the Crumbleys dismissed the school's concerns and failed to remove their son from school or secure the firearm.
Felt a little bit distant.
What do you mean by that?
More just kind of like, it felt like it was a little bit of an inconvenience to be there. My words were, I wanted to be seen as soon as possible, but it was made quite clear that it wasn't possible to do it that day.
Why do you say it was made clear it wasn't possible to do it?
That they had to return to work.
The investigation revealed that the Crumbleys had purchased the gun used in the shooting just days before, and rather than addressing their son's cries for help, they seemingly ignored them. The trial of Ethan Crumbley and the subsequent charges against his parents became a national spectacle. Ethan was charged as an adult with terrorism, first-degree murder, and other felonies. The courtroom was tense as prosecutors presented the evidence, painting a picture of a young man who meticulously planned his attack. The defense argued that Ethan's mental health issues were not adequately addressed, shifting some of the blame onto his parents and the school system. Despite this, the overwhelming evidence showed that Ethan acted with intent, and the prosecution sought the maximum penalty. Meanwhile, James and Jennifer Crumbley were charged with involuntary manslaughter, a rare move aimed at holding parents accountable for their child's actions. The prosecution argued that their negligence and failure to secure the firearm contributed directly to the tragedy. After a lengthy and emotional trial, the jury reached a verdict. Ethan Crumbley was found guilty on all charges, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The verdict brought a sense of closure for the victims' families, but the pain of their loss was immeasurable.
Where the public sees the punishment that the individual has received and hopes that the public will never do anything like this in the future. Counts 2 through 5. Homicide, first degree, premeditated murder, juvenile defendant. Sentence of the court is that the defendant shall serve the rest of his life without the possibility of parole with the Michigan Department of Corrections, credit for 8 days served.
James and Jennifer Crumbley's trial also concluded with a guilty verdict. The first parents to be convicted over their child's involvement in a school shooting have been set for 10 to 15 years in prison. The courtroom was filled with mixed emotions, relief that justice had been served, but also sorrow for a family destroyed by their own actions. The case set a precedent, raising important questions about parental responsibility and gun ownership in America. But for the families of the victims, no sentence could ever bring back their loved ones. As the trials came to a close, the families of the victims spoke out, sharing their grief and the impact of the tragedy on their lives. Their words were filled with pain, but also with a determination to prevent such a tragedy from happening again. In a final statement, Ethan expressed remorse for his actions, but for many, it was too little, too late. The lives lost could never be replaced, and the community of Oxford would never be the same.
I'd like to thank you for letting me speak, Your Honor. We are all here because of me today, of what I did. My actions were because of what I chose to do. I could not stop myself, but I am the one who led to why we are here today. I am a really bad person. I have done terrible things that no one should ever do. I have lied, been not trustworthy. I've hurt many people. Any sentence that they ask for, I ask that you do impose it on me, because I want them to be happy and I want them to feel secure and safe, and I do not want them to worry another day.
The shooting at Oxford High School left a lasting impact on the community. In the aftermath, there were calls for stricter gun control laws and better mental health support for students. The tragedy also led to increased security measures in schools across the country. For the families of the victims, life would never return to normal. They continue to honor the memories of their loved ones through foundations and memorials, hoping to turn their pain into a force for change. Thank you for joining us in exploring this heartbreaking and complex case. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories that delve deep into the human experience.